Truth brings the darkness into the light, and that is my goal to do here every Sunday. Been making more and more splashes every week, get a little bigger. But anyway, I've got a lot to cover. I don't want to digress too much. We come to the last show before Pride Month ends, so I prepared a little piece this week, and I will read that here in just a second. I guess when I was doing my prep for the show, I completely forgot that this marks the 1-year anniversary of me going live. Of course, back then it started with little 10-minute shows here and there. And then TikTok decided to ban me about, probably the 4th or 5th show in. And that's why I decided to start a Rumble. Just kind of move this thing over. Let's see how that works. But yeah, that's when I decided to start a Rumble account. And that's when I started doing I think I started with like 30-minute shows, which now I run into so much news throughout the week, it's turned into a 2.5 hour show, which I'm trying to, I talked about this last week. I'm trying to knock it down to maybe 1 hour on Sundays, maybe an hour and a half, and then maybe Wednesday or something, I do a broadcast from, like maybe my work truck or something like that. But that's in the future. I don't want to digress too much. Like I said, I have a lot to cover here. Let's get into my little speech here. This nation doesn't have a political problem, but a spiritual one. As Samuel says, if we do our job as Christians, as a nation, our leaders will have no choice but to join us or be left in the dust. We, the people, holding our leaders accountable and not cheerleading death, abortion, unnecessary wars, all of them. With no support, the bought and paid for media and influencers will have no ground to stand on. Satan is trying to influence our children so they may not grow up with a chance to see and know what is right or what is real. Satan stole colors of the rainbow to influence children, to pull them in. The Pride movement itself and the founders of the flags of the Pride, trans, LGBTQ plus pedophile, ABC 1, 2, 3, plus minus equal 10, both were very open about targeting children. And I will get into that later. I will show you their own words about why they chose the colors they chose. Sorry, it's a little hot up here. I have to open the window. But what you do in your bedrooms is between you and God. Your illusions of what you think about your body is telling you, or about your body is telling God he doesn't know what he's doing. God knows exactly how you were supposed to be. He doesn't make mistakes. You have been tricked by Satan. Now you're a foot soldier for him. Quit trying to make up the minds of children that aren't yours. The Pride movement is a mental illness breeding ground that targets God's children. It must go back to the shadows where it belongs. But we're going to continue the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which is what I'm going to start with. There's a new Wayfair trafficking scandal. What's the name of that? Just in case anybody signs off, I want you to at least hear this. Vinted. It's a trading app, I guess, supposedly. I don't know. Never been there. But I will show you evidence of that. We've got health news. I'm going to continue my weaponizing insects series. I probably got 1, maybe 2 more weeks on that. And this week, I'm basically just retouching on the Plum Island thing. Just some more information that I discovered. Some of the people involved. This, that, the other thing. And more operations that got us where we are in the world, such as Operation Nashon. That's kind of an ongoing series of my pre-modern state of Israel terrorist acts. in Palestine. I'm going to cover, what is that name? EO 13603, which basically gives FEMA control of everything, what animals you can have, how much water. I'll get into it. But anyway, I guess let's just jump right into it. I'm not going to do my Bible quote this week, but I have somebody that will. Let's hear it from this kid. He's probably all of 12 years old. He's got it figured out. So if you're an adult, I don't know how you don't have it figured out yet, but better late than never. I can say that much. Here we go. There's no way he's 12. He's probably 10. But here we go. Let's listen.
If Jesus came back today, a lot of people would probably say that he wasn't very nice at all. Why? Because we've confused being nice with being kind, and they're not the same thing at all. Today, nice often means don't disagree with me. Don't tell me I'm wrong. Just make me feel good. But Jesus didn't live that way. He wasn't trying to make everyone comfortable. He was trying to save them. Hey, I'm Bo, and I'm on this journey to be my best for Jesus. One of the biggest mistakes that people make is imagining Jesus walked around telling everyone they were perfect exactly as they were. But that's not what happened at all. Jesus loved people deeply. And because he loved people deeply, he challenged them. The Bible says in Ephesians 4:15, speaking the truth in love. Notice it doesn't say make people feel good. It says tell the truth in love. Think about it. A parent who lets a child eat candy for every meal might seem nice. A coach who never corrects mistakes might seem nice. A friend who watches you make terrible choices and says nothing might seem nice. But none of those things are kind. Real kindness wants what's best for someone, even when it's uncomfortable. Real kindness has boundaries. Real kindness says, I love you too much to pretend that this is okay.
The window.
Jesus welcomed sinners, but he never, ever celebrated sin. He forgave people, but he also called them to change. To the woman caught in adultery, Jesus said, go and from now on sin no more. That's John 8:11. That's kindness. Truth and love working together. Nice often seeks approval. Kindness seeks what's best. Nice says, whatever makes you happy. Kindness says, I care too much about you not to tell you the truth. Jesus wasn't mean, he wasn't harsh, but he wasn't a people pleaser either. The truth doesn't always feel good in the moment, but it leads to freedom. Paul remembers, the strong spirit, starting life, Jesus with what? Jesus wasn't.
And that comes from Armor Up Kids, ARMORUPKIDS on Instagram.
How do you never see a
I learn stuff from the 10-year-old myself. All right. If you learn something there, don't feel bad. You're not the only one. Anyway, with that, let's get into the protocols of the learned elders of Zion. Yeah, see, turn it into hardback. Here soon, when they pull the internet kill switch, I'll probably have one of the only ones in existence here. Yeah. So if you want a copy, reach out to me. It'll cost you a little bit of something, but that's just to pay for materials. That's it. All right. All right. So we left off on Protocol 3, at the end of Protocol 3 last week. Well, let's get into Protocol number 4, materialism to replace religion. Every republic passes through several stages. The first of these is the early days of mad raging by the blind mob, tossed here and there to and fro. The second is demagogy, which leads to anarchy, and that inevitably leads to despotism. This is not a legal and observable and therefore responsible type of despotism. Rather, it's a hidden form of despotism that's in the hands of some secret organization. This organization is unscrupulous because it works behind the backs of the people, using agents who have no accountability and who don't serve the people, only the organization. These agents are continually changing, and this benefits the organization because it doesn't give them special rewards for long times in service. Who or what has the ability to overthrow an invisible force? Because that is precisely what our force is. Gentile-based Freemasonry serves as a smokescreen for us and our plans. But the plan of action of our force, even its very existence, remains an unknown mystery to the people. So Freemasonry. Okay, I'll use Thomas Massey as an example again. He's a Demolay. Okay. Now, until you get into the upper echelons of Freemasonry, you have no idea what the 33rd level or whatever is. Okay, most of these people are clueless, like the people you see running the circus and shit like that. They're low level and think that they're doing good, when in all reality, they're just the foot soldiers for the people truly in control of the Freemasons, which is all right. Here's an interesting one. This is the next section. We shall destroy God. Even freedom might be harmless and have its place in our state economy without harming the well-being of the people, if it is based on a faith in God and on the brotherhood of humanity, providing that it remains disconnected with the concept of equality. Equality is negated by the very laws of creation, for these laws have established subordination. With faith such as this, a people might be governed by a trusteeship of parishes, and would walk contentedly and humbly under the guiding hand of its spiritual pastor while submitting to the plans of God upon earth. This is the reason why it is essential for us to undermine all faith, to tear out of the mind of the Goyim and the principle of God the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit, and to put in its place arithmetical calculations and material needs. Hollywood, anyone? Arithmetical, all the things such as NASA. I mean, it's countless. The arithmetical, I guess, being the Darwinism. Well, there's actually scientific evidence of this, and fuck off. My scientific evidence is in the Bible. In order to give the Goyim no time to think and notice what is happening, their minds must be diverted towards industry and trade. Thus, all the nations will be swallowed up in the pursuit of gain, and in the race for it, they won't notice their common enemy. But again, in order that freedom may once and for all disintegrate and ruin the communities of the Goyim, we must put industry on a speculative basis. The result of this will be that the wealth which is mined from the earth will not be invested in productive industry, but will pass to institutions that deal in speculation, such as finance, gambling, the stock market, which are under our ownership. The Trump administration loves to make the stock market a sign that the economy's good. Of course, when you're lying about it because you're owned by them, of course, the economy's great. The rich are getting richer. Yeah, okay. Fuck you. Oh, shit. Okay, yep. Life will create, no, have already created disenchanted, cold and heartless communities. Such communities will lose interest in and foster a strong aversion towards sound political management and religion. Their only guide will be that of monetary gain, i.e., gold, which they will erect into a bona fide cult for the sake of those material delights which it can give. Then a day of reckoning will come when, not for the sake of righteousness, not even to win wealth, but solely out of hatred towards those privileged, the lower classes of the Goyim will follow our lead and rise against our rivals for power, the intellectuals of the Goyim. Oh, where's Protocol 6? Oh, where the hell is it? I go from 5 to 7? Or did I mix them up? All right, well, Protocol number 5. Oh, okay, that's 6. All right. Despotism and modern progress. What form of administrative rule can be given to communities in which corruption has penetrated everywhere? Sound like the United States, anyone? Communities where riches are obtained only by the clever surprise tactics of con artists, where looseness reigns, where morality is maintained not by voluntarily accepted principles, but by harsh laws and strong enforcement, where feelings towards religion and country are obligated only by fashionable persuasions. What form of rule is to be given to these communities other than that despotism, which I shall describe to you later? We shall create a strong central government in order to gain a stranglehold on those communities. We shall thoroughly regulate all aspects of the public life of our subjects with new laws. These laws will withdraw one by one all the privileges and freedoms which have been permitted to the Goyim, and our kingdom will be distinguished by a despotism of such magnificent proportions that, at any moment and in every place, it will be in a position to wipe out any Goyim who dares to oppose us, either in words or by actions. That would be Agenda 2030, ladies and gentlemen. That'd be the New World Order. That'd be the one world government. You may think that for a despotism of this description to come into being, it would not be consistent with the progress of history, that it could not exist in this modern age. But I will prove to you that it is, and that it could. Back in the days when peoples looked at kings on their thrones just as they would look upon a pure manifestation of the will of God, they submitted without a murmur to the despotic power of kings. But from the day when we placed the concept of their own rights into their minds, they began to regard the occupants of thrones as mere ordinary mortals. The godlike charm of the Lord's anointed has fallen from the heads of kings in the eyes of the people. And when we also robbed them of their faith in God, the might of authoritative power fell into the realm of public ownership and was then seized by us. All right, I'm going to read Protocol 6, and then we will move on. Protocol 6, masses led by lies. Moreover, the art of directing masses and individuals by means of cleverly manipulated theory and words, by laws, and by all sorts of other odd methods, the Goyim understand none of this because it belongs to the specialists of our collective governing intelligence. The specialists. I got into the specialists last week. Basically, the specialists are the people that are in control of your mainstream media, the people that are in control of your Hollywood movies, in control of your music. I got into last week. Just a second. Oh. No. Okay. But I got into damn it. So yeah, the hertz. So we went from 432 hertz to 440 hertz as the main frequency that they produce music in. And I have people saying like, "Oh, well, that we got to run one on all sorts of different. We got to run on all sorts of different frequencies because that's the way music." Okay, I get that. I understand that. But the global standard is now 440 hertz, which is chaotic and crazy. Let's see. I'll work on it for next week, I guess. I was going to do the Homer Simpson dough every time, something kind of like what Owen Schroyer does with the clown music or the clown soundbite. But I got into that, and those are the specialists. Those are the people that work in conjunction with them, but pretend to be one of us. All right. Reared on analysis, observation, and delicate calculations, in this type of skill we have no rivals. any more than we have rivals in the drawing up of plans of political actions in solidarity. In this respect, the Roman Catholic Church might have compared with us, but we have conspired to discredit them in the eyes of the unthinking mob, since they are an observable organization, while we ourselves have kept our secret organization in the shade the whole time. However, it is probably all the same to the world, which doesn't really care who its sovereign lord is, whether the head of Catholicism or our despot of the blood of Zion. But to us, the chosen people, it is very far from being a matter of indifference. For a time, perhaps, we might be successfully dealt with by a coalition of the Goyim of the entire world, but we are protected from this danger by the discord existing among them. Their loyalties to their own separate groups, races, and classes are now so deeply ingrained that they can never be removed. We have set one against another the personal and national beliefs of the Goyim, religious and race hatreds, which we have fostered into a huge growth in the course of the past 20 centuries. One example of that, most of the slave traders and owners, back when black people were slaves in America, were indeed Jews. This is the reason why there is... All right. I know I run my show based on having balls and speaking my mind. So yeah, they were Jews. Okay? Or in this case, it was probably the fake Jews, aka the elders of Zion. All right. Damn it. Turn that thing down. Sorry about that. This is the reason why there is not one state which would anywhere receive support if it were to raise its arm. For every one of them must bear in mind that any agreement against us would be unprofitable to itself. We are too strong. There is no evading our power. The nations cannot come to an even inconsiderable private agreement without our secretly having a hand in it. Per me regis regnat is Latin for it is through me that kings reign. And it was said by the prophets that we were chosen by God himself to rule over the whole earth. God has endowed us with genius so that we may do this task. Genius, huh? If genius was in an opposing camp, it would still struggle against us. But even so, a newcomer is no match for the old established settler. The struggle would be merciless between us, such a fight as the world has never seen. Yes, and the genius on their side would have arrived too late. All the wheels of the machinery of all states go via the force of the engine, which is in our hands. And that engine of the machinery of states is gold. At the same time, we must intensively promote trade and industry, but first and foremost, speculation. The part played by speculation is to suppress industry. The absence of speculative industry will multiply capital in private hands and will serve to restore agriculture by freeing the land from the debts of banks. What we want is that industry should drain both labor and capital from the land, then by means of speculation transfer all of the money of the world into our hands, and thereby throw all of the Goyim into the ranks of the working class. Then the Goyim will bow down before us. Never. If for no other reason but to get the right to exist. To complete the ruin of the industry of the Goyim, we shall bring to the assistance of speculation the luxury which we have encouraged among the Goyim, that greedy demand for luxury which is swallowing up everything. We shall raise the rate of wages, pay attention here. However, this will not bring any advantage to the workers, because at the same time, we shall also cause a rise in prices of items that are essential to life. Data centers, inflation, let me go down the list. We shall claim that these increases were caused by a decline in agriculture and cattle breeding. I told you part of Agenda 2030, they don't want you to eat meat anymore. I covered that they're using alpha-gal syndrome to make you allergic to meat. We shall, craftily and thoroughly, further undermine sources of production by accustoming the workers to anarchy and to drunkenness. Additionally, we shall take all measures to uproot all the educated forces of the Goyim from the face of the earth. This might be stretching a little bit, but I don't know, the scientists that were calling out, or that were UFOologists, or they were, they worked with spacecraft, aircraft, they were conspiracy theorists. Quite a few of them died recently, didn't we? In order that the true meaning of things is not discovered by the Goyim before the proper time, we shall mask it under an alleged enthusiastic desire to serve the working classes and the great principles of political economy, which our economic theories carry with much energetic propaganda. What was Donald John Trump, ladies and gentlemen? That sure sounds like energetic propaganda. Like I said, a long time ago when I was still with MAGA, that his Donald Trump's 2024 campaign was probably the greatest campaign in the history of this country, if not the world. Made a lot of people believers. That sounds like energetic propaganda to me. Anyway, let's move on. We've got some Israel news here. Interesting fact: the peace president has threatened to level them again. Yeah, I put this up not because I support it. For those of you fucking idiots that think that I support this, I put this map behind me during Israel news to expose it. Remember, it was conspiracy theory. They're not trying to push their borders out, and that's all conspiracy theory. You're just an anti-Semite. Well, what are they doing now? They're openly talking about the Greater Israel Project. And I'm about to read to you the things that they're doing week by week by week by week to push the Greater Israel Project. So, in Gaza this week, Israel continues targeted strikes on Hamas positions and operatives while expanding control west of the Yellow Line buffer zone through earthworks, home demolitions, and farmland leveling. Casualties persist post-ceasefire, growing anti-Hamas protests inside Gaza, funded by... Look at that. Okay, I just want you to stop for a second. Look at that. That's a fucking pentagram, ladies and gentlemen. That is the star of Remphan. Whew. West Bank. Settler violence has hit record highs since late 2025 with increased attacks on Palestinian villages and property. Israeli authorities are advancing major settlement expansions. Incidents include bulldozing olive groves and charging settlers over mosque attacks. In Lebanon, Hezbollah leader Naim Qassem rejected the deal as a surrender of sovereignty. The group continues limited resistance. Israel conducts strikes and demolishes Hezbollah infrastructure. A major 200-meter underground drone facility in Majdal Zun with Iranian tech. IDF maintains a security presence and zone and has been ordered to prepare for an extended stay. I don't know, like moving on up. In case you didn't catch Donald Trump this week, he said that they were going to pass the reins off to the former ISIS leader that now runs Syria. They were going to pass him the reins on keeping Hezbollah at bay. Okay? This shit's so easy to see. I don't understand how people don't see it. Isolated clashes continue, with some residents are returning to southern areas, but fighting has not fully stopped. Turkey. Of course, I already called like a month ago that Turkey is Israel's next target. I don't know if that has anything to do with the Greater Israel Project, but I don't know. Turkey is signaling defensive preparations. Mobilization rules, intelligence reports urging war readiness amid competition, while keeping some diplomatic channels open. Tensions center on Syria, Gaza, and regional influence. Turkey has conditioned normalization on Gaza improvements. All right. So let's get into our first clip here. Yeah, I got to turn the record on here. Just a second here. Work phone protocols told you. Where are we at? Oh, I guess this isn't really Israel news. I'm going to push that one back just a little bit to the Mamdani little area. Protocols told you. Sorry about that. All right. Moving on over here. Bolshevik torture. Okay, so somebody asked, hey, at Grok, did the Bolsheviks insert hot burning charcoal into the genitals of Christian women while they were still alive? Yes, Cheka units during the Red Terror used extreme tortures, including burning genitals with hot irons, candles, and exhumations documented in SP Melgonov's Red Terror in Russia, and corroborating accounts. Inserted burning charcoal into women's private parts. These targeted perceived enemies, including many Christians and clergy, amid the Bolsheviks' anti-religious terror. Atrocity reports from the Civil War require scrutiny, but this pattern of sadistic violence is recorded. I guess here's some other things that they used against Christians. Crucifixion, scalping, boiling in tar, forced communion with melted lead, impalement, burial alive, hand flaying, cutting the skin off people's hands so that they could make gloves. Who supposedly did all that? Let's see, the only one you've ever heard of. There was 6 million Jews involved. I guess that would be the Holocaust. So the real Holocaust, right here. I'm reading you everything that they said Germany did. Does that mean they did it or didn't do it? I don't know. I'm saying I know somebody who did, and you didn't learn about it at all in school. Rolling naked victims in nail-studded barrels and rat gnawing via heated tubes. These regional accounts come from contemporary reports and later historical compilations. Who did we team up with in World War II to take down the supposed... Who did we team up with in World War II to take down the National Socialists? Oh yeah, that'd be the Bolsheviks that did literally everything I just read to you against Christians. Okay, so keep that in the back of your mind. We'll get into that here real soon. War crime. This comes from JP Sears at Awaken with JP on X. He said, God's chosen people doing some of that biblically inspired killing and torturing of children. Don't you dare criticize. Israel has a right to defend itself against those children.
Inhumane and the commission found indisputable evidence.
Well, go all the way to the beginning.
The commission found indisputable evidence with regards to the deliberate, targeted killing of Palestinian children, including since the October 2025 ceasefire, the use of torture, inhumane and degrading treatment, including use of sexual and gender-based violence against Palestinian children, as well as targeting of critical infrastructure essential to children such as orphanages, healthcare, and educational facilities. There has been a widespread and systematic killing and harming of children between 7th October 2023 and 7th October 2025. We have witnessed more than 20,000 children who've been killed and more than 44,000 children who've been injured. Children constitute 30% of all those killed in OPT, and the killing and injuring of children has been a continuing activity.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Do you recognize any of these people up here? Do you know what they all have in common? Can you figure it out by looking? They all have one thing in common, and that's that they've all died. Well, at least.
All right. Next one. Jewish Bolsheviks. So here we go. It says the face of Judeo-Bolshevism. The ideologists: Adam Weishaupt, Moses Hess, Karl Marx. Bolshevik leaders: Vladimir Ulyanov, Lev Bronstein, Iosif Jugashvili, Lazar Kaganovich. Well, all right, I'll just read. Rothschild Mafia financiers. Who else worked for the Rothschilds? Jeffrey Epstein. WZO president, heads of secret police, Gulag administrators, head of Torgson, Rothschild agents. You know, the same people that are running the modern state of Israel, huh? Notable Bolsheviks, famous Bolshevik terrorists, non-Jewish Bolsheviks who married Jewish women, Jewish Bolshevik leaders in other countries, anywhere from Italy, Canada. Oh, I don't know that one. Oh, forgive me. All those African countries, I don't fucking understand them. Great Britain, America, Belgium, another one I don't know. France, Germany, Italy, Cuba, Puerto Rico, Cuba. Sorry, forgive me. Anyway, they're all over the place. 96% of the Bolshevik central government, 92% of the Gulag commanders, 78% of the regime's commissars, 50% of the generals in the NKVD, 40% of the high-ranking officers in the Soviet secret police, 39% of the senior posts in the Soviet security apparatus. All, quote-unquote, Jewish. Now, does that mean they're... Oh, shit. Does that mean they're practicing Jews? Or do they just say they are? That's the next question, isn't it? All right. Expect conflict soon. So, this comes from the redheaded libertarian on X. She said, sounds like Nigeria needs some freedom. Nigeria uncovers massive lithium and rare earth deposits. Who is in dire need of rare earth deposits for our data centers? The good old United States of America. I'm sure you're going to hear of some terrorist activities. Or, the fun one that they've been pushing is that they're genociding Christians there. Well, at least they didn't, I guess they think maybe the Jewish thing's getting played out. So now all of a sudden the Christians are under attack. And maybe they are. They probably are. But why? Probably because the people doing it are receiving payment from them. That's probably why. That's probably why all those Christians are getting brutally murdered. Just saying. Could be. I can't get my cross centered. Sorry. All right. And the war is back on. That's fun. We're just having a blast here. This comes from Rex Jones at Rex Jones News on X. He said the peace president is back. From RT, Trump threatens to wipe Iran off the face of the earth. And this was today, or yesterday, I guess. United States aircraft just struck Iranian missile and drone storage locations and coastal radar sites for violating the ceasefire agreement again. When? When? I looked and looked and looked. I didn't see shit. Is this about the drone they took down in the Strait that Israel probably flew? Anyway, it is very possible that they will never learn. There may come a point when we are no longer able to be reasonable and will be forced to militarily complete the job that we very successfully started. If that happens, the Islamic Republic of Iran will no longer exist. So he's back to this. Usually he waits till Friday night to do that. Guess he was a day late. My God. This is why I do this. Try to open everybody's eyes to all this shit. So we can maybe stop it, maybe? Well, where the fuck is it? Oh, it's on the tablet. Sorry, I don't know. That was predictive. This again comes from Rex Jones News, and this is predictive programming. This is what it looks like, okay? I'm going to let you watch this. I got to run downstairs real quick. Forgot something. I'm going to leave this time.
The flood across the border, basically an open-ended California.
I guess it's short. I'll have to wait.
Well, Sean, as we sit here right now tonight, the threat of terrorist attack is higher now than it has been in decades. And there are two causes of it. Number one, we had 4 years under Joe Biden of open borders. We had 12 million people flood across the border, basically an open invitation to every terrorist, every Hamas and Hezbollah and IRGC terrorist, come to America.
Yeah, so Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is a real nigga. Real nigga. Look at that. We'll just move to Israel already. Holy fuck. Well, at least he's telling us that a planned attack is going to happen at some point soon. Might just be the reason we need to glass Iran, huh? Anyway, with that, let's get into the last trans pedo LGBTQ plus pedophile ABC 123 equals 10 of Pride Month. Don't worry, I'm not going to stop doing it. Not one bit. I started this whole show to wage war on them, and I'm just going to continue it on. Okay. Work phone. Let's go. We'll start with the Epstein stuff this time. All right. So, in the Epstein files, it is file number EFTA 00143-648. All right. Hello, Keir Starmer. I want you to arrest me or at least send the police round from the UK because you are a cunt. Why are you a cunt, Keir and Rishi and Peter Mandelson? Because you have all profited on the rape and sex trafficking of children and young women. I also know backdoor deals have been done in regards to me. And who this is from is redacted. Please do send the police because for almost a decade I've tried to give you my statement. Now, where is Adam Castellani, Keir Starmer? Also, who is the Prime Minister that redacted named in her testimony? I want that Prime Minister named and investigated immediately. If her word is good enough for Andrew, her word is good enough for the rest, surely. How about Ehud Barak, another one who raped redacted? Please, can the FCA and FCC investigate all of those names, please? Redacted and redacted must definitely testify. Also, please, can you investigate her charity, whereby Bose and Edwards are all partners? We've had years and years of fuckface redacted, and it's time she gets off her arse and does some work for her money. Can we check her bank account, please, too? Cash. You're welcome to mine anytime, and I also give you permission to look at my search engine history, too. I want Cash to literally take everything of mine, investigate everything I've researched for the last decade on Google or Yahoo, because I know that Cash Patel will do the same for all those names. I give you permission, and now the rest must too. If they have any issue, Cash, they have something to hide. And not a fucking thing happened. I guess Keir Starmer is, he did step down. So that's a good thing. But why are we allowing these people to step down? These people should be arrested. They shouldn't be losing their fucking job. They should be sitting in a jail cell and having to prove that they are innocent. Because we have the shit right here. That's pretty much all you need, isn't it? Isn't that all you need? My God, why won't it stay? Just go a little further up there. It's bugging me. All right. This is Starmer Pedo Protector. This comes from the libs of TikTok. While Sir Keir Starmer was the director of public prosecutions, it has been reported that 13,000 suspected rape gang members and PDF files were let off with warning letters. Keir Starmer can't just resign, he should be prosecuted. This is in a report. Well, it's just the same thing that this comes from that, I can't remember the name of it. Oh, that comes from the Rape Gang Inquiry Report that was just released. I believe that was last week. Got one more thing on that. This is the Rape Gang Cover-Up. Comes from Europa.com. It says, Keir Starmer has initiated the biggest cover-up in modern British history. Starmer has approved the deletion of court records vital to Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry. The Labour government do not care about past or present victims of migrant rape crime that continues to fester. This is Europa.com. You know what? I got a minute. I'm going to make my run downstairs. I'm going to grab a pen, of all things. That's my face makeup that I used to wear to put the cross on my face. But here you go.
This may be the biggest cover-up in UK history. So the same court records that helped expose rape and grooming gangs across the UK are now being ordered to be destroyed. Interesting that this is happening at the exact same time as Rupert Lowe's rape gang inquiry. They are literally deleting the evidence during the rape gang inquiry with Starmer's full backing. The Ministry of Justice has ordered the court desk archive, which is relied on by over 1,500 journalists, to be deleted in full. The court desk wasn't just a database. It's used by journalists to highlight serious failures in the court system, so missed hearings, repeat offenders, institutional negligence. It's used in the interest of open justice. But Starmer has approved the deletion of this, and it will happen in days. We are literally living in George Orwell's 1984. What happens to you? Justice has to be seen to be done. They don't care. Starmer doesn't care about any of the women and girls that were raped and tortured by Pakistani grooming gangs. He doesn't care about them. He doesn't care about them now. He doesn't care if it continues. We are living in actual hell. This country is hell. Starmer is a very sick man. So are a lot of people in this government, both past and present. They're essentially perverting the course of justice. How are they not? These people belong in prison. There are many forms of justice, and that will.
Yeah, so I know you're thinking, well, Vinny, that's in Britain. That doesn't really matter. What's happening in Britain is trying to come to America. Okay, the migrant. I say the. What did I say? The illegal. Oh my God, I can't remember what I coined it as. But the illegals that they're shipping here are from the third world, and they are indeed trying to run the same operations, which they already run. Our politicians and anybody who's anybody is indeed involved in these trafficking operations in some way, shape, or form. Anyway. Let's get into trans violence. Yep, right underneath that. So, a Dutch 15-year-old girl who identified as a trans boy and later as a dog has stabbed her parents to death. She took pictures of their bodies covered in blood and sent to her school class WhatsApp group. Yeah, it's a mental illness. Mental illness. Another drag pedo. So, drag queen New York School Board vice president, who said during an interview that the last thing he is a predator, has been arrested for possessing CSAM involving infants.
To see people remain silent when such terrible things are being said that are untrue.
Really? They're untrue.
Also, I had friends say to me, "Oh, I love you, but I just don't think it's great for our kids." And I'm like, "Whoa,
no, it ain't good for our kids at all, motherfucker."
On a weekly basis, like I've played with makeup with your kids.